First things first, I want to apologize if my voice sounds weird. I am coming down with a silence cold. It is messing me up. But I just listened to the new Baby Keem album. I was listening to the listening party. All right, I was there. It just ended, and I gotta say this: I was right. Okay, I was. The last video I said was, "Is this have potential to be a classic album of the year?" I'm not gonna come out and say after first listen this is a certified classic. The only album I listened to that was genuinely like I thought was instantly a classic when I first listened to it was To Pimp a Butterfly and Good Kid, Mad City. Those two albums, and obviously like my like graduation and stuff like that, but I was way younger. But that's besides the point. When those albums dropped and I listened to the first time, my mom was so blown. I was like, this is the greatest album of all time. Baby Keem's this Casino album isn't the greatest of all time. I'm not gonna sit here and say it is. You need to listen to this album before you pass away, right? But what we needed in a Baby Keem sequel, what many people miss and what many people are artists are ashamed of doing, is giving people what they want, but with improved quality. That's all we're asking for. We're not asking for anything crazy. We're not asking for we need a double album, stepping out your wheelhouse. Some artists are good in their wheelhouse, and that's what this Casino album is. It is very solid. The production is incredible. I will say that is one thing that Baby Keem has an ear for production that I have not heard from many artists. You know what I mean? Around his age and at that level. You know what I mean? His ear for production is absolutely insanity, right? But before we get into production and all stuff like that and breaking it down, right? Because this is not gonna be that long of a thing, right? Because my voice can barely handle as is, right? But I will say this: the one thing that makes this album so great and so like good, and what really adds onto the album is, this album is short. 11 tracks, 36 minutes. You're in and you're out. And the album's smooth. It flows so effortlessly. Like, it's not like Astro World where each song, or like Metro Boomin where like each song has a transition to the next one. No. But when you're playing this album, you could play this on a car ride, whatever, from start to finish. And just be, if you're going somewhere, you're going to work or whatever, and it's like, it go through a vibe of emotions or whatever. And the one thing I very much love about Baby Keem is, he can have you at the hypest of hypes, and then 2 songs later, have you like sitting there, at the, it's just beautiful. It's beautiful music. And it's crazy to sit here and listen to this entire album, right? I was listening to the listening party and listening to the album, and just how well-rounded this album is. And like, when it got done, I was like, damn, I wanted 5 more tracks. But it's like, it's beautiful. It was amazing, because it's like, it got in, got out. You wanted more Baby Keem. You wanted the high quality production. You wanted the hype music. His fans, including me, are gonna love this album, because you just needed more of what it was. I wouldn't say there's no family ties in this album, but I feel like there's a Luther on this album. There are some songs that have like a low vibe, whatever, that I can see blowing up. All right, there are some obviously hype songs. I don't think anything will top when Family Ties dropped and everyone's losing their minds. But in terms of, I don't know, there are some songs that if you check up, there's like at least 5 songs in here that was like, oh, this has radio staying power immediately. So like, I am excited to replay this. I'm definitely getting this album on vinyl. I said it in the last video that I'm hesitant to get stuff on vinyl, because I don't know how it would play out, right? Because there's been times where you pre-order something, you listen to the album, you didn't really like it as much, right? But this is definitely an album I am getting on vinyl. Is this gonna top Melodic Blue in terms of my rotation? Maybe. I need to give it a few more listens. I mean, I love the sampling in this. That's what it is. The production and the songs are so solid that it's like across the board. I'm going to listen to this album a lot more than Melodic Blue, but Melodic Blue has so many songs like heavy hitters on that album, where it's like, I'm going to go back to that album more. You know what I mean? But this not saying this album is a bad. This album at its worst is like an 8 out of 10. You know what I mean? Time will tell how I feel afterwards, after watching and listening to a few more times through. But for first impressions, I fully feel like this album has potential to be, rap album of the year. You know what I mean? Is A$AP Rocky? You know what I mean? Because it wasn't boring to listen to. What was the dude that just dropped? I forgot his name. He has a baby with Cali Uchis. What is his name? Hold on. Don Toliver, those albums, I legit think like this is such a beautiful time this year for music and hip hop and stuff like that. Last year was okay. 2024 was insane in terms of music. So it's just great that hip hop is in such a great place right now. And back to this album, it's just like there is no skips in this album. That's one thing I do love, okay? If we want to sit here and have a conversation about this album and it's like, yo, is there any skips? Is there a song that I need to avoid? No. All these songs hit, okay? It starts off hard with the No Security, Casino, then it mellows out with Birds and the Bees and Good Flirts, Yo, Kendrick Lamar's a troll, bro. Kendrick Lamar's a troll, bro. That Young Thug line is insane, by the way. And then he has a hidden feature on House Money or whatever. And then Sex Appeal was low-key my favorite song on the album. Like, Sex Appeal and maybe House Money. House Money, Sex Appeal, and then the Circus Freestyle. Like, those three are like, I know I'm going to be spinning this song over and over again. Especially, the one thing that makes Baby Keem's album so great is that when he has a tone or emotion he wants you to feel, you will feel it. You know what I mean? That's if you obviously care for his music and stuff like that. But I am thoroughly enjoyed this album, okay? I was thoroughly surprised. The production, the sampling. When people sit there and say, what does sonically mean? They point to this album because each song is drastically different. You're not sitting here going through these albums and sitting here as like, oh, this is a chore. You know what I mean? I wasn't bored listening to this album unlike other albums in the past. Okay, that's why now we're gonna talk about, because I brought it up. That's why J. Cole's album infuriates me so much, because he is a top tier rapper in the game. He is top tier at what he does. You know what I mean? He's one of the greats, quote unquote. You know what I mean? And if you are one of the greats, you need to have a body of work where someone doesn't sit there and be bored listening to it. Someone doesn't sit there rolling their eyes, checking their watch. You know what I mean? This album doesn't have that because it's short. It's to the point. And I really wish what people need to take from this album. If there's one thing I want artists across the world, rappers who are looking to, make their breakout to the big thing, when you make a body of work, make it short and to the point. No album that, unless you're like, a top 10 genius of the game or whatever, or you really have something to say, there is no reason for an album to be a double album. That's why problem with some big artists today. For example, when Drake dropped Scorpion, I hated that album because there is a very good album in that album, right? But there's so much bloat that by the time you get to the good part, you're like, I'm bored of this album. That's why this is great. When Pusha T came out and had the short album releases with like 8 songs, this is what we need. This is what we need. Everyone needs to follow the blueprint of shorter is sometimes better. Now their fans are going to run this album into the ground, and then in a few years when he drops some more music or whatever he's doing, people are going to run to that because it's in and out. All right, it's like Chick-fil-A. You know what I mean? When you go to Chick-fil-A, you know what you're getting, but it's high quality of what you're getting. And I am just super stoked and excited to replay this album. I'm going to replay this as soon as I get done recording this. The one thing I will say is that after listening to this album does separate Baby Keem from other, what people would say, mumble rap artists, you know what I mean? Because he has a beautiful thing where there are songs where there's pure hype, what you know Baby Keem is for, but there are a bunch of introspective songs, like the last song of the album is like called No Blame, right? And that song is talking about his mother and the stuff that she dealt with or whatever that he had to deal with as a kid and stuff like that, right? And Highways Part 2, right? That beautiful songs that will really, for those who are going through that, will have a tearjerker moment, you know what I mean? And it's just beautiful songs like that. And people who try to put him in a box of like, oh, you're just a hype music, you know what I mean? A hype artist that just drops music that you jump around to. No, he has beautiful songs that are like, oh, let's sit here and let's storytelling is beautiful and stuff like that. Even the I'm Not a Lyricist song, right? It's just a wonderful mixture of different tones in this album that really helps it flow and you stay engaged throughout the entire album. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what y'all think on the new Baby Keem album. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Any comments down below. And if you want to talk about any other topics from pop culture, music, or gaming, just let me know in the comments. I'm out. Peace.